Hi, everybody. How are you today? How was your classes and your booking frenzy? I had 42 when I woke up this morning, and I woke up later than usual because usually the 8 o'clock ones, when I wake up, it adds in. It was more than 8 hours, in other words. So it's probably more than that. So I'm happy because bookings are a little down for me. It's not terrible. Like I'm getting some bookings, but definitely a little bit lower. Have some holes in my schedule. So yeah. How is everyone? My kids started school today. So that's why the new time changed for my live streams. That's why 11:15. I have to drive my daughter to school at the time of the old one, but she just texted me that she has lunch first thing when she first gets there. So if I end up needing to drive her a half hour later, I'll go back to making them right after class. Just look for the time. The time it'll say so a day before my live streams. Teresa, my son started college this weekend. Oh, is he your only son or is he your youngest? Are you an empty nester or you still have kids at home? Excited for him. Where is he? Is he going to school close to home or is it really far away? I can't imagine when mine leave. I can't imagine that day. I'm sure that's very hard. Um, yeah, so what is going on with everyone? Like I said, I had a pretty good booking frenzy. A lot end up canceling, so let's hope they stay. I got certified for level 7 very recently. I haven't taught a class yet, but next week I have 3 kids on the schedule for level 7. The only thing I'm a little scared about is what Cindy talked about in her live stream on Saturday, is that if they cancel, that's like two classes canceling instead of one, like if they cancel at the 25-minute mark or something like that. So I'm a little scared of that. But yes. You too, Teresa. Did you just get your certification? Um, Also, I just signed my contract and I got a raise. Yay me. I was expecting it. I know I meet all the qualifications. I think most of you know the qualifications for a raise, but if you don't and you want to know them, type it in the chat box. All right. Heather says the rewards are nerve-wracking. You mean in level 7? Yeah, so I'm very happy. I haven't seen it show up in my payment tab yet. So for those of you who have already gotten a raise, does it wait until the actual 1 year mark before you start getting more money? Because officially my 1 year mark is not until August 31st, and they send your contract 4 weeks early. Thank you, Kim. And they started weekly payments, which I did sign up for. Has anyone else signed up for it? So that's a nice perk that a lot of other companies do not do, is weekly payments. Probably for next month. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Kim. Probably officially when I've been at a year. Probably after September, it'll probably start kicking in. But yes, I'm very happy about that. I hope to get another one next year, unless something disastrous happens. I should, but you never know with online teaching. In the new contract, okay, that's what I thought. Like, so basically next. So it hasn't officially been a year till August 31st, but when it's been officially a year on my live stream, I'm going to do things that I've learned in the past year. Yeah, so I'm happy about that. All right, Heather has a question. Is it after 1 year for raise, or can it receive after your first contract? Only 1 year, Heather. And they only so like if you don't make it that 1 year, then you have to wait another year to be qualified. So it's not like if you don't get the raise, then you can try again in 6 months. It's a whole nother year. So yeah, I'm excited. That will be awesome. And then I've been working, well, not lately, not since I got back from vacation. I worked last month a little bit at Gogokid, so I should have 3 checks. They're my backup company. I don't work there all the time. 3rd, 5th, 7th. Yes, basically yearly. It's my first, of course. Oh, September. Yes. Yep. Yeah. So, is everyone here? Teresa, do you work for just VIPKid or other companies? If you're new here, let me know where you work. Most people probably VIPKid. I advertised this live stream in most of the VIPKids Facebook pages. I did put it on one that's like a Gogokid VIP, a Facebook page for people who teach at both. Hi, Danny. Good to see you. It is good to have a backup company. And thank you, Heather. It's good to be here again. I have been so busy, I haven't been able to do live streams, haven't even done the weekly report, but I think Danny's the only one that watches that anyway. Teresa said, I was hired by Gogokid, but haven't taught classes because I'm fully booked with VIPKid just after that. Same, Teresa. That is my exact situation. Actually, within 10 days of each other, actually hired by Gogokid first. And then I got hired by VIPKid and I opened slots for both. I was like, let me see what ends up clicking for me. And that ended up being VIPKid. I started getting overnight bookings. I started getting regulars. So I just kept it that way. And so for a while, I even stopped opening slots over at Gogokid, but then decided, I'll open some slots. It's good to still teach some. Native, but there's okay, yeah. Teresa, I signed up for Native too. I interviewed, I got hired. I never even set up a profile. For me, I was busy at both VIPKid and Gogokid, and they didn't look like they were booking. Also, from being hired with Gogokid when they were a very early company, I knew better. I knew that with a new company, sit back and wait and see what happens first. Because I knew people who were like closing their slots at VIPKid, not accepting priority booking requests for a brand new company. I didn't even set up a profile. I was like, let me see what happens. And then nothing happened. Everybody was mad. I wasn't mad because I knew better than to trust a new company after Gogokid. And Gogokid's been wonderful, don't get me wrong. But with the new company come lots and lots of changes. Danny said, I'm doing well. First day, no kids here in over a year. I'm excited. I can hear my thoughts so quiet. I know. I won't even tell you what my last week has been like, just trying to get ready for the first day of school, and I'm not even ready. So for those who don't know, last year my kids went back after Labor Day, and this year 3 weeks early. So this is the transition summer, and we had a super short summer. I was teaching classes this morning, didn't even have my son's school supplies ready. I mean, they were bought. I wake him up in between classes, was like, I have one more class. You got to get ready. And then he's like, where are my school supplies? Here they are. Here's your, papers. Figure it out. He was mad at me, but you don't even know the week I've had. And it's just so early. All right. So for people who are new, if you are talking directly to me or responding to something I'm talking about, write in all caps, because lots of times there's conversations going on amongst each other, which is fine. I like doing that too at other people's live streams. But then if they're in all caps, I know you're talking to me and then sometimes I even miss the ones in all caps. So, okay, Teresa says, sit back and wait. My philosophy too with new companies. VIPKid's been good to me. Heather says, I've been contemplating taking some days off. My daughter's 13th birthday. I know. I keep saying I need to take off one day a week because I'm overwhelmed. Heather, no one can answer why they thought they are starting school early. It's one of those types of things, Heather, where half the county was for it, half was against. I was pretty much against it, but it was like just enough of a majority that voted it in to happen early. I don't want it or if we were going to start early, let's start with like a week before Labor Day, 2 weeks, not go from after Labor Day to like 3 weeks early. It was a big change. Yeah, so not really happy about it, but some people are happy. There were lots of pros and cons. I think there's more cons. Some of the arguments have to do with like high school and their exam schedule and things like that. Um, so a lot of people were saying like I guess there's some tests. It's not even a test that everybody takes, but some high schoolers have to take, and it's nationwide, and it's taken the same week no matter what week your school starts. So like the schools that start earlier get more time, or like we'll be done with midterms by Christmas. Those were like some of the reasons. But it's the hottest month of the year where I live, and there's no air conditioner on a lot of buses. Some of the schools aren't even air conditioner, and sometimes it's going to be too hot to go out. I was against it, but I had no choice. So, anyways, back to what I was talking about. We were talking about Gogokid. Yes, VIPKID's my main company, but I am glad that I have Gogokid as a backup. Because it's good to have a backup in this online ESL world that is so unstable. You never know. Probably everything's going to be great with VIPKID. They've been around 5 years, but you never know when something could happen in your life that you didn't foresee. Some emergency that VIPKID, won't accept your soft cancellation. And I like the way that the schedule at Gogokid, the 30-minute classes work so perfect with the schedule at VIPKID. So Heather applied with Cambly and still haven't heard from them. Okay. And then Heather says, I see it as an excuse because they are losing money. Yeah. I had a guy come to my Gogokid trial yesterday, never saw him exit. Okay. Oh, an IT guy. I heard on the Facebook pages they're in there a lot. So anyways, I'm going to share what happened to Kim. She gave me permission to share this ahead of time because she also wants people to be aware. Has to do with what you asked, Heather. No, Danny, I heard the IT people have been coming in the Gogokid classroom. There's been a lot of discussion. There was one that came in my classroom when I was teaching last month. So anyways, Kim, she got, okay, so you guys know it is really hard to get an interview with Gogokid. There are literally YouTube videos titled How to Get the Gogokid Interview. They don't have a lot of slots available. It is not like VIPKID where you can just go in the portal and choose any time you want, day or night. Most people's biggest complaint is like, I can't book the interview. And there's, tricks and things. Look at it first thing in the morning or look at it at night. So anyways, Kim, her bookings were low at VIPKID. And luckily she has iTutor as a backup, but she still wanted more bookings. And I said, why don't you try for Gogokid? Especially with Gogokid doesn't have a minimum. So if she wanted to get hired with Gogokid and then things picked up with VIPKID and she never really taught a lot, it doesn't matter. That's the wonderful thing. So that's why I have VIPKID, Gogokid, and Cambly. None of them have a minimum, which is nice. So anyways, Kim decides that she is going to apply at Gogokid, and she gets an interview for that next morning, which is incredible because you guys, it is so hard to get an interview with Gogokid. So she's like, yes, I have one tomorrow. And I'm like, tomorrow? Wow, really? So she gets the interview. She does the interview. She hears back within 2 days. So all she has to do is upload all her documents, which she does. And she does that. Guess what? It's now been 3 weeks. And they haven't approved her documents yet. I even tried to send in a ticket on her behalf. And, I got the response was, we have a lot of applicants. It's taking longer than normal. They basically told me in a nice way, just leave it alone. So, anyways, so now it's been 3 weeks. And also, same thing, she also applied to Cambly. It took her 4 weeks to hear back. It also took me a long time to hear back. So my point in telling you this story is that you should have a backup plan in place already before something happens, whatever that something is. Before you get fired or the company goes under or some reason your bookings dry up for whatever reason, something happens in China, because let's say suddenly something happens and you're like, uh-oh, I need to get another job. You go to Gogokid, Cambly, you got to wait 4 weeks. That's 4 weeks without a check. 4 weeks. Or, so my point is have something in place ahead of time because it can take a long time to hear back from you. And if you get companies without a minimum, you can still work for VIPKID, have them as your main company, have Gogokid as a backup. If I wanted to open absolutely no slots at Gogokid, I could. I open a little bit of slots. I work a little bit here and there. I at least for me, I feel like I should be familiar with the platform and know what's going on. So then if I needed to just jump right in, I could, if something happened with VIPKID. Or if I have trouble getting students and getting bookings, being new, getting established when I first hypothetically get fired from VIPKID, I can then open Cambly. So I have 2 backups in place. So my point is get a backup before you're desperate, and then you have to sit around and wait for them to approve you. I see lots of all caps. That is strange. I bet they had an influx this summer. Yes. I think a lot of people are hearing how great Gogokid is and, applying. Kim, 3 weeks waiting on the contract. One woman told me it took her 6 weeks. Right. Yeah, I was going to mention that too. I forgot to. Yeah, her friend took 6 weeks. They gave you the response, have some moon salad. I don't. Okay. Scary what is happening there. Are you talking about the hurricanes? Yeah. Evelyn said, smart Kelly. Yeah, Evelyn applied and got hired with Gogokid. I think last time you said you don't really open any slots, but you have it there. It's already in place if you need it. All right, so the other thing I was going to talk about today is Ed Nace's book. But before I finish that subject, anyone have any thoughts or anything to say about what I was just talking about? My throat's dry after teaching and talking to you guys, so hold on. Evelyn's listening while she grocery shops. Wow, I don't have unlimited data, so I can't listen to you guys if I'm not at home. All right. So I have the past few weeks, well, it's been 3 weeks since the last time I talked about Ed Nace's book, Above and Beyond. I've been trying to take care of my voice in classes, okay? So he has 4 different stages, in case you missed some of my last live streams: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So I already talked about listening and speaking. Today, I decided to combine reading and writing only because there's not a whole lot to say about the writing part. Reading has a lot to do with phonics. Now, the last live stream, we ended up talking about phonics. So these stages, the listening, speaking, reading, writing, they overlap. They overlap a lot. But also, I think we got in a discussion about the supplementary courses at VIPKID and Gogokid, and we started talking about phonics. And it kind of came up in conversation that way, since we already talked about phonics a whole bunch. I'm just gonna mention lightly that phonics is a big part of reading and you need it, but we won't go into detail since we did a lot of that in the last live stream. All right, and writing. Okay, so we do a lot of writing at VIPKID. We have them spell and memorize the sight words, but they're not like writing, papers for business and stuff like that. So a lot of this might not apply unless Kim teaches adults at iTutor, and I think you said a lot of it's test prep. Do you also teach them, things for business? Anyways, that's where the writing would come into play, and we mostly teach children. That's why I decided to combine these two. Morgan's folding laundry. All right, I've done that so many times. Laundry and dishes is what I do when the rest of you are going live. Okay, so Danny, how have you been taking care of your voice in class? Let us know. So anyways, they first listen, then they speak, because after they've been hearing, and then they learn to read. Now, VIPKID starts teaching reading pretty much from the get-go. Like level 2, actually Ed Nace gives an example from level 2. So basically, some of the very early level 2s or trials that you have, like, there's a dialogue going on. This is my mom. This is my dad. Okay, so this is I'm going to quote straight from his book, read from his book. Level 2, Lucy. The slides show a dialogue written on the screen. Quotes, who is this? This is my mom. Is the goal for Lucy to read this fluently? I mean, he says, no, I don't even think the curriculum writers intended this. This is level 2. Are they really going to be reading, who is this? This is my mom. And at this stage, they're mostly repeating. So, the words are there because what else would you put on a slide? Take it as a teaching guide. It's simply to show us what it is we are to practice with them. Okay. And if your student's still in the silent listening mode, this is level 2, do the dialogue with a puppet. I think you guys know that. And then she'll repeat when given the opportunity. You guys, I used this puppet. I used this stuffed animal. Actually, I used this bear. I had a level reading kid. He could read fine, but he would not answer the questions. He would just stare at me. So I eventually started asking the bear questions. What do you think? Where do you think the cat's going to hide? And the bear would answer. And after about 3 times of doing this, he understood when I was asking him a question and started answering back. And this wasn't like a level 2. This was a kid who could read. So sometimes even the upper levels need the modeling of the back and forth. They want them to introduce their mother. Yes. And then Kim says that adults, we focus on conversation or business needs. Okay, so some of them, maybe you're focusing on the writing. And then he also mentions the sight words, which I talked a little bit about that last week. So he says that sight words like the vocabulary, the spelling, that's something they're supposed to be doing in the pre and post homework, and you're working with them on pronunciation. Me personally, I do find that some of those super advanced kids, Ed Nace is not to think of it as filling time. So I try not to, but you got to think of something to do with them so that the lesson doesn't end too early. So yes, I spend time having them do sentences with sight words, having them spell the sight words. So why not, if a kid reads and they're fast, they're going easily, in a way, or teaching writing, if you're teaching spelling. Okay, so he talks about in his book, so we're supposed to do this layered cake, listening, speaking, reading, writing. So what if someone goes out of order? So he gives in his book an example of someone who went straight to the writing stage, didn't do those other things. So this was an adult. He would write papers in English, and he could do it well. Let me quote straight from his book under the writing section. So he says, is it possible for someone to skip reading and writing? He said he had a tutoring business in college. One of his students was a Chinese man doing postdoc work in agricultural sciences. He wrote influential papers in fluent English and innovated some really cool things. He lived in the US for over 10 years. So what's the problem? He was ashamed of his English. Why? He wrote so well because he felt like his practical spoken English skills hindered him from making any friends. His speaking voice and his accent had never been developed. He skipped clean past the listening, speaking, and right to doing work and research. So he was successful, but not in the areas he cared about most, which was relationships. That's why it's so important to take the steps in the right order: listening, speaking, reading, writing. So that's where we come in, guys. That is why we are teaching this Native American accent, pronunciation, so that they can have relationships if they come here. Here he wrote. You would think, oh, if he can write, why can't he speak? Well, here's an example. And I talked about this last time too, but a lot of us, we learned a language in high school by learning the vocabulary and reading and writing. We skipped listening and speaking. So a lot of us forgot most of it, probably couldn't carry on a conversation. Yeah. Yeah, Kim says poor guy. I know. That's sad because here he lived in the United States, was successful, but couldn't speak. And Kim says, with the adults, we do pronunciation and phonics as needed, especially for low levels. Okay. Oh, right. Because, adults may come in at a beginning level, not knowing any. I mean, if I wanted to pick up a language, I could. We keep thinking of children because we teach the Chinese. So, yeah. What do you guys think of that? And then one other excerpt I wanted to read from him. It a little bit has to do with phonics, which we did talk about last time, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on phonics, but I'll just talk about it lightly. Bossy E. Bonnie isn't seeing the difference between long vowels and short vowels. She kind of makes a guess, makes the two sound mushy and undefined. All right, I'll tell you his advice, and then I'll tell you what I do. Okay, so he says you want to draw attention to the fact that E, so the Bonnie knows where she needs to look first. Compare and contrast over and over, circling an E. You can use a whiteboard. And then he suggests, if you know ahead of time, like putting like the word tape and then rip off the E and do tap. I kind of do it differently, but I really emphasize the sounds, believe me. And after reading Ed's Nace book, he gives you permission if you have that level 3 that doesn't know phonics. I've had level 4s that know how to read but still make simple mistakes. I will just say, like, if they call this tape, I'll say, wait, A says ah. You said tape. Does this say ah? And then add the E and tell them. Like I said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on phonics since we talked so much about that last time. But that is also a big part of teaching reading. And I feel like it's the foundation. I know I said this before. I don't want to repeat myself, but I'll just say real quick, I think it's the foundation. So if I get a grammar or, leveled reading that is doing these, mixing up very simple things like that, I go back to the basics, teach them the vowels, because I figure that'll help long term. Love seeing what other teachers do. What do you guys do in that situation? So if you have someone mixing up the long and the short vowels, sometimes even when you say, I want to hear ah, like apple, feel free to show what you do. Okay. All right. So even if you say, A says ah, like apple, and he's saying that, they still say tape or tep or whatever they're saying. Then I will literally, like, letter by letter, t, ah, p, ah, ah, t, ah, p, so that they can see A says ah, but that's how I'm applying it. Then add the E. Oh, the E pokes the A, makes it long. Now, doesn't say ah, it says A. The E makes the A say A. But sometimes kids will mix up, like, the long I with the E. Same thing. I'm hearing I like ice cream. E says eh, eh. Try it with eh. They'll still say might, meet, something like that. Et, et. So I will walk them through it if I have to. I had a level 3 pronounce short A as long I. Yeah, short A as long I. Okay, I heard I want to hear ah. Sometimes they'll read off the card right away. They'll go apple. So yes, ah, like apple. And yeah, lots of times they mix up all the vowel sounds, the short O, the long O. I have a level 3. She has been coming to my class every single day in the summer, and it's awesome. And we had a slide today where it was like all the short and long vowels just in a circle, and you had to and they were all different vowels. She was reviewing all of them. and she got them all wrong. So I literally had to circle, and we went through each one step by step. But then I noticed later on when she was reading, she would catch herself making that mistake and bring herself back. Oh, yeah. Like she would see me circle it and go, Bon. She'd see me circle it. Oh, no, bone. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All the. Okay. Heather says I had a level. Okay, I've read that one. Heather, bless his heart, he could not get it. I wrote both sounds on a whiteboard. Like really, really like emphasize. You said I and A? Yeah. That's when I keep going. I want to hear ah. Or sometimes I'll even like say it the way they're saying it. You said long I or short I? Level as long I. Okay. Short A is long I. Okay. I. A says ah. Ah. T. I. T. I. Does that sound like ah? Ah. Ah. T. Ah. P. T. Ah. P. Not I. And then just keep doing that for every word. Okay, Teresa says, I get a lot with rid ride. I have a flashcard that says, I like to ride a bike. And then you have like, ride, and bike all in there. So you can really emphasize the long I. And with that, I would even like make the E poke the I. Evelyn says, I recently taught an upper level student who didn't know GE is soft G and CE is soft C, so I stopped to teach the phonics rule before continuing reading. Yes, exactly, because he'll only continue to make that mistake as he goes on. It doesn't matter what level. If you have a level 6 who's doing it, usually, I think I've had level 5s make simple mistakes, but usually all you have to do is circle the word and say, is that a long vowel or a short vowel? And they'll tell you and say, try it again. Usually it's just, they know the rule. It's just they forgot, they're reading fast, not thinking about it. But yeah, if you have to bring them back to the basics, that'll only help them long term. Yeah, so anyways, Kim, let us know, have you, because you work with adults, have you ever had an adult maybe who was, good at writing or reading, but had trouble with the accent? Yeah, so that's what I do. I was hoping Ed Nace was going to be able to come. I had the student that I've been talking about throughout this series about, sorry, getting distracted by the chat. Okay, so the student that I've been talking about, one of my students, Raccoon, who has trouble like going off the script. He sticks to the script. I've been trying to ask him more questions. One of the problems I have though is that like he reads slow, he answers questions slow. So sometimes if I ask too many questions, it slows the pacing down, and so that can be an issue too. I've got to end on time. And then Danny says, I love seeing them progress. I have a 5-year-old at Gogokid who is smart and growing leaps and bounds. 37 classes with me in a year's time. Love regulars. Yeah, me too. Speaking of how many times you've had a student, you guys, isn't that VIPKID has a new feature that they're telling you all the times you've taught that student, not just the past 6 months. Now I have Feedback Panda to help me keep track of that, so I was fine anyway, but that's really nice because before it only told you the last 6 months. So I'm really excited about that. Kim says, I rarely teach adults because I'm so good with kids. I get kids 99% of the time. I think now that I'm used to kids, I think I wouldn't even know what to do the first time I had an adult. It would just be so different. And then Danny says, you can really tell when they have just been trained to do the VIPKID lesson and not go off the lesson. Yeah, that is one advantage of Gogokid is they don't have as much of a script. It's a little more free, but yet it's, on the other hand, it's hard to fill the time sometimes. I love the Diner Helper in L2. I have not seen that yet. I teach mostly 3 and up, and I think I'm the best at teaching those. I get booked with more of those. VIPKID is really growing and improving even more. How cool is it that VIPKID started by 2 women? Yes, I have several that I have had over 29 times. Girl boss, especially in China. I know. I think it was great that she started this, and there wasn't too many companies out there doing this. I think maybe iTutor. Kim, you said iTutor has been around a little longer, right? It helped me out today. All right, I will have to see. Did I teach a level 2 today? No, I taught a level 1, but I have not seen this dyno. All right, is it something that just shows up on your screen or something you have to click on? I usually preview the lessons the night before. 20 years. Okay. And here I thought VIPKID was like the first. iTutor had been around for a really long time. Gosh, I needed a work from home job like over a year ago. I wish I would have known sooner when the students can't drag and drop. Oh, I could have used that for my level 1 today. I kept trying to get her to drag and drop and she couldn't. And and she did the alphabet song and she did like the last section wrong. So I was trying to go back over it and go slowly, but then she would sing right over me and sing it wrong. And I think she got frustrated, but so I just said in the feedback, she'll learn it with continued VIPKID classes. Let's ask Dino. Teresa says, I have a couple of students who struggle with free talk. I now give them a prompt in advance. Yeah, I don't know if you saw my last live stream that I talked about this Ed Nace book, Teresa. If you haven't, go watch that. Ed Nace actually showed up to the live stream and he gave me some examples of what to do. Like, you don't go way off the script, you stick to the script and change one word. So like I was doing the stranger unit with him. You keep on the script, but you say, are you and your mom strangers? Are you and I strangers? So I'm only changing the script a little bit. And then he says to kind of get ridiculous, are you and this cupcake strangers? So you're still kind of on the script, but now you're kind of changing it up, making it a little ridiculous. Okay, that one was done about 3 weeks ago. So it's called Ed Nace speaking, I think. Yeah, and those were the advice that he gave me about getting off the script. Yeah. Love it, and it's funny. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Since there's a delay, sometimes you need to like full sentences with what you guys are talking about. Nice feature. Okay, so yeah. So how's everything else? I think that's probably all I have for you guys today. I have a crazy life. I have a lot going on. And I need to get back to doing some things. But does anyone have anything else to say about, reading, writing, phonics, getting off the script? How are your classes and your bookings? If not, I'll go ahead and end this live stream and I will be back next week. So, and I will try to do the Gogokid weekly report, especially for you, Danny. I've just been so busy in the last 2 weeks. Like I said, I had to, stop doing these live streams for a little while. All right. Well, you guys check my channel for what time next week. I might keep it at 11:15. Maybe I can go back to having it right after class. I like listening to you guys right after class. Classes are over. The live stream happens. I like doing that. When was the live stream with Ed? 3 weeks ago. Yes. Heather said, my feedback has increased since I included that Chinese phrase. Okay. You use a Chinese phrase in your feedback. I must have missed that. Glad you're back. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Danny. Yes, I missed going live. I looked forward to this today. Yeah, Heather, what phrase? Yeah, so it was 3 weeks ago. Teresa, it's labeled like Ed Nace speaking. Yeah, exactly 3 weeks ago. So anyways, you guys, I'm going to copy and paste that. All right, copy Heather's phrase that she wrote in the chat box there. There, I did a copy, and I'm gonna look it up after class. All right, you guys, I'll see you next week. All right, I'm back. I'm back for good. All right, bye, you guys. I'll see you at each other's live stream rest of the week. Bye. See you.